Welcome to another episode, everyone. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Let me take you back to Centinela State Prison, circa 1997. I was there along with Big MeatBall from Compton, Crip. Big MeatBall crashed out and sliced an OG individual from his hood over some allegations that he put upon him. It was really nasty work. Big MeatBall, as the name perhaps indicates, is a big individual. Perhaps MeatBall does not denote necessarily that this is a humongous individual, but he is. MeatBall was either from Park Village, Compton, Crip, or Carver Park, Compton, Crip. I believe it's Park Village, though. I get them mixed up. I believe it's Park Village, Compton, Crip that MeatBall was from. And he was still a big dude with braids, a younger individual, well, not that old, in the middle, in his early 30s or so, I would say. And MeatBall had been locked up for some time. He was in there for a somewhat gruesome crime. Not nothing against the rules as it relates to the penitentiary. He was able to walk the main line, but the crime itself was a dastardly one. The individual that was involved in the crime was his younger homie, not of the same name, not of the MeatBall fame, but he was an individual from Compton. I don't even believe that he too was from Park Village, but he was indeed from Compton, Crip. And he snitched on the case, just to cut to the chase. Get right to it. This individual told on MeatBall and got MeatBall all kinds of time. Now, the individual that snitched on MeatBall, his crimey, has a big brother also from Compton, Crip. Now, this individual is well known, a strong individual from his part of town. Word has it in the streets that he is prone to violence and does not hesitate to take care of business when called upon. This, in fact, is how he cultivated his reputation. MeatBall is not a slouch himself. He's someone too. Now, the brother of the snitch that snitched on MeatBall is there on the yard. CR, Centinela State Prison, circa 1997. Again, I was there and many Compton Crips were there. Some strong individuals from Compton. Some of them I was pretty tight with. My guy Lil Man, we go way back. A strong individual. Slim from Nutty Block was there. Limp was there. The list, Cisco from Santana Block was there. The list goes on. The Compton Crips, the hub was deep on the yard. They wasn't really going for none. Everyone pretty much knew that this young individual had snitched on MeatBall during the case. It was no secret. MeatBall had the paperwork. The paperwork, in no uncertain terms, pointed the finger at the individual in question. MeatBall confronted the individual's brother. Now, MeatBall has respect here on the yard, though he's not a super OG and he's not even super turned up. Not turned up, in fact, whatsoever. MeatBall does have a reputation as an individual that will take care of business when called upon or crossed. When he takes slight to any indiscretion, he will react. Other than that, he's a cool individual, an individual I would describe as loquacious. You know, you have some of them homies who are always talking loud, but in a good way, in a positive way, and this dude means no harm. He's really like a big old teddy bear. Nevertheless, don't let that fool you. So MeatBall confronts the individual who has a strong reputation for violence on the street and there in prison. He shows him the paperwork and he says, your brother, your little brother, is snitching on me on the case. You know it. I know it. The whole hood knows it. The yard knows it. I've exposed it. What are you going to do about it now? The individual that's the rat, the individual that has a propensity to eat cheese, the guy who likes cheese the most, he's also locked up in another prison. Though he snitched, he got time as well. That's what happens to the snitches all of the time. He also has time to do. He just does not have the same amount of time as MeatBall, who has an extensive amount of time to do and has already been in there for some years. He confronts him with the paperwork. And essentially, MeatBall wants this individual who has the rank to basically call in, if you will, on the other yard to send a message. No cell phones at this time. Send a message to the other yard to have his brother removed from the yard. You know your brother's a snitch. I have the paperwork right here to support my assertions. Plus, everyone knows the situation. Everyone, again, the case that he was involved in, it was a rather famous case, I'll say. And many people knew about the case. So when this dude turned coat, when this dude had snitched, it was not a secret whatsoever because the case was somewhat public. People knew who the culprit was. It was this young individual. And his brother certainly knew that his young brother had snitched, had turned coat, had began to eat the cheese. He knew this. What to do? This is my little brother. But I'm a high-ranking individual from my section who purports to believe in certain rules and protocols. And if all of a sudden I flout these rules just because this is my brother, well, it lends itself to discredit me as an OG. Well, indeed, you have to stand on it regardless of who is culpable in the situation. But his brother essentially steadfast refused to send word to the other prison to have his own brother attacked. Yes, he read the paperwork. He didn't need to read it. He had already knew that his brother had turned on old MeatBall. He knew the ins and outs and the intricacies of the case. Of course, this is his little brother, and he is a high-ranking individual. He knows everything that's going on in this section, what transpired with this case, if his brother told or not. MeatBall didn't necessarily need the paperwork to support his position, but he had it anyway. He's showing everyone from Compton on the yard the paperwork in case anyone has any doubt. You heard the rumors that this individual was telling? Well, here it is. Here's the proof. And everyone is on board. This dude is certainly a snitch. The paperwork is not doctored. This individual told. But the brother flat out refused, said, man, I'm not sending word over there to get my brother. Now, MeatBall was actually okay with this. If not okay, it at least did not warrant a slicing, a knifing, an unaliving. He didn't like the response or the answer, but he said, I'll take care of it myself. I understand this dude is in a tough position. This is his little brother. But he went against the rules and the protocols of the game, little brother or not. If it was your little homie, you would do that. You would follow suit. You would have him removed from the yard because you have it right here in black and white that he, in his words, got someone, also a reputable individual, a lot of time in prison. He did not stand on business. He flouted what is essentially the number one rule and protocol. It's been around since before time. That there is no snitching. MeatBall, he had grace. This is his brother, and this individual is an OG and a reputable, and he didn't snitch himself. I'll deal with it myself. I'll take it out on your brother. MeatBall sent word himself to the other yard. This was his plan then. You won't take care of it, I'll take care of it. I'm also someone from the hood, from Compton, Crip. I have immense respect from my comrades, and I have the paperwork. Yes, it's your brother. Yes, they all know who you are and that you hold a certain reputation that engenders fear. It emanates fear from some individuals. MeatBall sent word to this same yard with the paperwork. Get him, remove him from the yard. Now, they saw the paperwork. It's clear this individual is a Sammy the Bull. He ran his mouth. But the individuals there on the yard decided to ask his big brother that's on the yard with MeatBall what the situation was, what's going on with him. They had so much reverence for the individual that was there. This dude's big brother, again, he had a proclivity for violence. He was known to stand on business. And everyone knew this. A lunatic of sorts. So they proceeded with caution about attacking this individual's little brother. They figured it may be hell to pay once the word trickles back down to Big Bro. Even though he's a snitch. And this is MeatBall's position, bro. He's a snitch. I just gave you the paperwork. What do you mean? You're almost implying that you need permission from his brother. His brother's not going to give you permission. His brother didn't even send word when he could have. Of course, that's his little brother. Well, in that same vein, he's not going to give you permission to attack his little brother. Should you ask for permission instead of just attacking him as you're supposed to do once the paperwork hits the yard? Favoritism is apparently at play. The big brother, once he received word that MeatBall went off on his own trying to get his little brother dealt with, eliminated, viciously removed from the yard, he confronted MeatBall. MeatBall told him, well, yes, I sent that word and I sent paperwork to the homies. You wouldn't do it, so I did it. MeatBall, again, he's not bagging down from anyone, including this individual. Hence why he sent the paperwork on his little brother. He wasn't afraid. They had a little back and forth. They left it alone. Again, MeatBall's target is not this individual, but because this individual is not out of fear, but MeatBall does respect him. He's a stand-up, strong individual. Your brother just a rat. Your brother's a piece of trash. He can't help that. He's not, for sure, by all accounts. He's none of that. But his brother is. MeatBall wants to keep the focus on where it belongs, and that's his little brother. Until the OG from Compton sent word back to the yard. Now he's communicating with this yard that has his little brother on the yard. He wouldn't do the communicating when MeatBall was beseeching him, imploring him to send word to just take care of this situation one way or another. Of course, that's his little brother. Some are going to say it doesn't matter. Some are going to totally understand the hesitation to have your little brother attacked in spite of the fact that these allegations can get him deleted. He sends word back to the yard, does the OG from Compton, and says, no one had better touch my brother. No one had better not touch my little brother. That paperwork, essentially, he said, is doctored. The paperwork, when you look at it, he says, indicates that MeatBall is the Sammy the Bull. MeatBall is the rat. This is salacious communication. And it's a fallacy. Let me disabuse you all of the notion right now that perhaps it was MeatBall the whole time that was a rat. No, this is just subterfuge on the big brother's part. He's throwing a wrinkle in the game. He's saying that MeatBall is a rat, but he knows, trust me, he knows that MeatBall is no rat, that he also knows who the rat is. That being his little brother. Everyone knows this, including the dudes on the yard who read the paperwork. Word filters back to MeatBall that this individual, the OG, who he respects and reveres even, has now put out word that he's the snitch, he's the rat, that he's the one telling on the case and not his little brother. MeatBall, in that very moment, began to cultivate sinister machinations. He decided in that moment, walking back and forth, pacing inside of his cell like a caged animal, pondering this. And the decision was a rapid one. This individual, the OG homie even, needed to be attacked immediately. He's so far down the rabbit hole in protecting his little brother, who is a rat, that now he's lying on me and saying that I'm a rat when he knows that I'm not, putting my life in danger. Yes, these allegations can get one killed. They're in prison and are on the street. MeatBall's pissed. How dare you? And no one believed it because everyone knows what the situation really is. Nevertheless, these accusations are hard to live down, particularly coming from someone of such high reputation. MeatBall took complete umbrage and decided in that moment this individual had to be attacked, OG homie and all. I'm not a slouch. I'm not some nobody. And now he's lying on me in order to protect his treacherous, snitching brother. Well, MeatBall immediately, without hesitation, caught up to the OG right there in the chow hall. We used to walk to dinner and breakfast there in Centinela. They have the gun tower there in the chow hall, and he has a weapon that he's holding with both hands. Mama Mini, we call her. That's the Mini 14, resembles an AK-47. He has another weapon wrapped around his shoulder. Nevertheless, when it's time to go, it is just that time. And sitting there in the chow hall, MeatBall had clearly decided that he was not about to bring this to the car, to the table. He felt like individuals were going to protect this dude, stand up for him in the same way they've been protecting his brother. That he could not seek permission for this attack. He just had to attack. Because should he seek permission, they may turn on him and attack him. This individual has that much clout. He wasn't going to chance it. So he sharpened his own knife. And without permission and without nary a hesitation, went inside of the chow hall as everyone is sitting in there eating. Again, oftentimes things do not happen inside of the chow hall out of respect for everyone in there eating, but sometimes things do transpire in the chow hall in order to send a message that you are serious, and that this cannot wait. As individuals are sitting there eating in the chow hall, MeatBall jumps up. You can't miss him. He's a big individual, hefty, and walk right towards the OG who's sitting down eating his food. I'm sure not thinking MeatBall has the kahunas, has the balls to attack him of all people instead of his brother. But no, you just put out word that this individual is a rat. These allegations can get him deleted. So MeatBall approached sort of stealthily, if you will. He was in secret as much as he could be, but he was moving quickly for a big man. And dude, the OG is sitting there eating his food at the table, laughing and joking with the other individuals there at the table. Normal program in a chow hall. And MeatBall gets right up on him, comes out of his pocket, had it right there, and sliced him right across the face. It wasn't, MeatBall did not have a bone crusher, as many individuals have there in prison when they're looking to delete you. They're coming at you with a bone crusher. I don't think MeatBall wants to delete this individual. Again, he's well respected and he's not guilty of anything other than falsifying these allegations against MeatBall and protecting a rat, albeit his brother. But these razors, I've seen people sliced with these razors over the years, and they leave a nasty mark. Like those box cutters, someone slice you with that, it leaves a big, nasty mark wherever the slice was. And these razors are no different. Once someone slices you with one, with precision, it will open you up. I've seen it time and time again. Someone slice someone's face, and their face open up like a fish, look like a fish. You just see the meat, blood and meat. That's what was coming from the OG's face. Meat and blood leaking right there inside of the chow hall while everyone is trying to eat their meal. Chow time is over because the sight was a gory one. MeatBall sliced him just one time. And he grabbed his face. He realized what had happened. He felt however it feels. He felt it, felt the blood gushing down, I'm sure, because it was coming down, but you can see some meat. He got deep in it. He cut him deep. Clearly. He had a razor on a handle. This is what he was after. Again, he wasn't looking to unalive the individual. He wanted to leave a mark. He wanted to slice him up. Clearly. He wanted to send a message to his brother. I'm not afraid of even your big brother. I'm not afraid of anyone. You are a rat. And your brother, I've lost respect for him because he's protecting a rat and then lied on me. Had the unmitigated gall to be mendacious and say that I was the rat when I stood tall on the case, all because I'm trying to get you dealt with, which is the protocol. You snitch, you get dealt with. And when I'm just trying to follow the rules and the protocols, your brother, out of love for you, throws me under the bus with lies. Lies that can get me deleted. But again, the Comptons didn't believe that MeatBall had told, even though the OG had put that out there. MeatBall has the paperwork. But they still didn't move on the dude. So MeatBall believes that they're favoring the OG, protecting his brother also, and that if the shit hits the fan, they're going to protect the OG. They're going to ride with him, over MeatBall. So he decided, I'm not going to bring this to them and say, bro, we got to do something to the homie. He just didn't believe that these dudes were going to be on board with that and say, oh, okay, yeah, let's stab the homie up. He believed that these dudes were not going to do it because of who this individual was. So, and I've seen this before. And so he decided that he had to do it himself without the proper permission, if you will, because sometimes you would need a certain permission when you're talking about doing something like that to an individual of high rank. Nevertheless, if he is wrong, then he is wrong. And if he's running around talking about MeatBall is the snitch, then he was dead wrong. They took him up out of the chow hall and took MeatBall up out of there. And MeatBall did a little time in the hole, and then he came back to the yard. And the OG did not. He was leaking. Certainly he has a scar for the rest of his life, no doubt. This happened some time ago. If I saw him right now, I would recognize him just based on that scar, no doubt. That's how deep it was. And he didn't do nothing. So we're clear, he didn't get up and throw a punch to OG or stab him back. No one else got up and did anything to MeatBall. You know, like the OG little homies, like, you know, they love him so much they finna attack MeatBall because of what he just did. No, MeatBall has love and respect as well. He already knew what it was about. MeatBall hadn't told him anything, but they knew what it was about. That this dude didn't put this jacket on MeatBall. They knew. They knew everything that was going on. They just stood out of the way. They already know the OG ain't finna come back. He's a victim now. He just got sliced up. So ain't no need to try to stand up and take his side, especially if he's wrong. I mean, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. They stood down. MeatBall ran up to him, hit him one time in the face, sliced him. From ear to his mouth. Shit opened up like a fish, leaking right there in the chow hall. Chow over. Was MeatBall wrong? Should he have just waited until he got his brother? Or was the OG wrong? His brother was a snitch, and he putting his jacket on MeatBall. Was the brother in a tough position? Because this is his little brother, and this individual was asking him to essentially have his little brother stabbed up off the yard. You talking about paperwork and being a snitch, and we talking about level 4 prisons, maximum security prisons. We're not talking about a fist fight. If you're saying remove this individual, knives are always going to be involved as it relates to a snitch. You're asking him to have his brother removed violently with weapons. Tough predicament, clearly. He flat out refused. He has to answer to his mother, I guess, his other brother, his sister, his auntie, who may turn on him and say, nah, I don't give a damn what your brother did. You had your brother stabbed up for some gang shit? No. Family first, you know, or whatever. I mean, he was in a position What do y'all think? What would y'all have done in that situation is what I want to know. It is a tough position to be in. But there you have it. MeatBall, Compton Crip. Shout out to MeatBall. A big, loquacious individual, but he was a strong stand-up and stand-down individual. And so was the other OG, at least so I thought. But I lost something for him when he put that on MeatBall. It's one thing to protect your brother and just not send word, and MeatBall was cool with that. He said, okay, I'll just send word that your brother's a snitch. And I'll have him attacked since you won't do it. But he had no problem with the OG. He didn't attack him over that. He was okay with that. He didn't like it, but he understood it and he respected it only when this individual threw him under the bus and said, no, don't attack anyone. Don't attack my little brother. He's not, because now he has to answer for the paperwork. It's one thing just to say, hey, don't attack him because that's my brother. And it's another thing to say, he didn't snitch at all. This is a dude that snitched. And you're lying the whole time. That's where you lost me at. You could have just said, don't attack my brother and left it right there. But then to put this on MeatBall, when you really know, he knew, trust me, what happened with that case. He knew, everyone did, that his brother was the snitch. Everyone knew that. And to throw that on MeatBall, I lost something for him in that moment. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Again, shout out to my boy MeatBall. Strong individual. Crazy stuff there in prison all of the time. Don't stand up to the rules and the protocols. You can lose it. Your life, that is. Stay safe and stay free, people.